I'm here at the Firefly and I'm going to show you a short demo that shows you the basic steps within a bead cleanup protocol. Currently there's nothing loaded on the software, so I'm just going to actually select my protocol. I've actually only got a small number of demo protocols here to select from based on my login. So I'm going to select the one I want and open it. And I can see here all the steps within the protocol that were written earlier, but I'm going to go to the execute part of the software. And first of all, I've got a summary of the protocol, so I can have a description and I've got all the steps that are in the protocol. I've also got a nice section which shows me all the labware and consumables that I will need for this protocol, so I could check this at my desk, for example, before I come down to the machine and make sure I've got everything that I need. And then I can use the setup and loading guide, which is going to walk me through step by step how to correctly load the instrument with the correct tips and labware and so on. So here I can see what the instrument will look like at the end, and if I go next, it will take me through each step of the process. I'm going to click Get Access here, which is going to move the dispense head forward so that I could change the syringes. I've actually already run this previously and I'm going to leave the syringes on as they are for this, but I could switch them out at this point if I wanted to. I'm going to go to the next step, which is to load the tips. Again, if I press Get Access, then it's going to again move the decks to a position that makes it easy for me to load the tips. And I've got the tip box here that I need to load into the position L2, which is for the lower deck, U is for the upper deck, so L2 is this position here. Move to the next one, which is showing me the magnetic block. So again, press Get Access and it will move things to the easiest position for me to load. So this magnetic block is going into position U8 here. And then the next one is the actual source, which is my sample plate here, which is going into U6. And then the next one, which is the waste plate, oh sorry, the waste plate in this case, which is going into U3. And then finally, the cleanup plate, which is going into U7. And the final thing is just to add the reagents. Again, I've already got the reagents in the tray here, so I'm not going to refill those. And that's my setup complete, ready to run. So I'm now going to run the bead cleanup protocol, which I've loaded. So hit the play, and the first thing it's going to do is pick up a set of 96 tips. And then the next thing it's going to go on to do is actually aspirate the bead mix, which in this case is actually just some coloured dye, some kind of orangey pink coloured dye to represent the beads. And it's just going to do this with 2 syringes. So you can use any combination of syringe numbers, and essentially it's a play off between dead volume and speed. The more syringes you use, the faster it goes, but then you need multiple reagent reservoirs and more dead volume. So often with things like enzyme mixes, people use a single syringe, and for speed with low cost reagents, maybe use multiple. So you can see here now it's dispensing with the 2 leftmost syringes simultaneously, essentially doing half the plate each and working down 1 row at a time and dispensing, I think it's 50 microlitres in this case. So it really is a fast dispense, and this works extremely well with any type of liquid essentially, including bead buffers. It works very well with beads. So that's complete. And now it's going to copy from a source plate. So this was a pre-dispensed plate with some blue liquid in it essentially, which is representing our DNA samples. And it's going to transfer them across to the beads that we've just dispensed. And then the next thing it's going to do is a variable height tip mix. So using the same tips that we've just transferred the sample with, it's actually doing a variable height where it's dispensing high and aspirating low. This is doing this at relatively low speed. We can actually go very fast on the pipetting speed. Here it's just we're doing it slowly just so you can easily see what's going on. So once it's performed that tip mix, it's then going to move on to the next step, which is a dispense. and it's actually now going to take the plate first before that transfer. It's going to take the plate and move it onto the magnetic block. So it's just checking the plates there. It does a quick squeeze first. Now it takes the plate over and moves it onto the magnetic block. And you could put a long pause in here. It depends on how long it takes to pull down the beads. We find these magnets are actually very quick, so even kind of 30 seconds probably would be enough, but if you needed to put a longer pause step in, you could. In this case, we're just taking the shortest possible time, moving in to then aspirate from that plate. And we can actually push down, they're actually sprung, these magnets, so we're actually pushing down slightly on the base of the magnet, and that allows us to actually aspirate off completely, and we're over aspirating more than the liquid in the well. So you can see we pull up a big air gap afterwards, which means we've pretty much taken everything from the plate and left it pretty much dry. And now it's just doing a slow dispense to waste. I'm just using another PCR plate in this demo here, but that could just be a waste plate or a trough, whatever your preference is. So finally, it's just going to unload those tips, and then the final step in this is that it's going to just remove that plate back off the magnet with the gripper. Obviously, for a full bead cleanup protocol, it would be essentially a loop of what you've seen here, just going on to add dispense ethanol into the wells and perform the wash steps, and then finally run through an elution buffer and elute the samples off at the end. But essentially, as I say, it's a loop of all the steps that you've seen here during this demo. So yeah, the final thing is just taking the plate off the magnet now. It's just going to place it to a position, another position on the deck. And that's protocol complete.